Keeper of the Lost Cities, Everblaze, Chapter 29. Why, Sophie started, not sure which question she wanted to ask first. Or maybe she knew. Can you still hear me? Yep, Fitz said, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Though, wow, your thoughts are racing. I can't make sense of any of them. Sophie covered her ears, like it could somehow shield her mind, which was when she realized she knew a better way to shield. No, don't, Fitz tried to tell her, but he was too late. Ugh, you just blocked me. Good. She focused on the invisible wall she'd built around her mind, imagining it was as thick and solid as possible. I thought you trusted me. I do. How could she explain that it was terrifying to have him poking around her brain? Especially when he had no problem letting her do the same to him? I imagine it's rather jarring, given Sophie's upbringing, Tiergan said quietly, reminding them that they weren't alone. We must remember that Sophie didn't grow up in the world of telepaths, and even now that she's with us, she's gotten rather used to her mind being impenetrable. Can you blame her for panicking? I guess not, Fitz mumbled, but he still looked annoyed. Tiergan turned to Sophie. I'll confess, I'd hoped you would handle the connection a bit differently. Wait, you knew Fitz would be able to read my mind? Why didn't you warn me? Because it was only a theory. You told me this Mr. Forkel, whoever he is, can slip past your mental blocking. And if the barrier around your consciousness is free of imperfection, which it has to be, otherwise the madness of a broken mind could seep in, there would be no way he could sneak through. So I began to wonder if it's your mind that pulls him in, because your mind trusts him. But I don't trust Mr. Forkel, especially now that she knew the Black Swan had a leak. Consciously, that may be true, and with good reason. His preference for subterfuge and disguise hardly instills confidence, but subconsciously, I suspect your minds share a mutual trust based on years of close training. Don't you believe that it was Mr. Forkel who planted the Black Swan's secrets carefully within your memories? Yes, Sophie admitted, but she didn't know what to say. Her mind was still too overloaded with the realization that Fitz got into her head. So, you're saying all Sophie has to do is trust me enough to let me in, and then I can read her mind? Fitz asked. In the simplest of terms, yes, Tiergan told him, but trust is rarely so simple. That's why I came up with today's exercise. I'd hoped that if you were forced to share things you'd never shared with anyone else, it would trigger an even deeper connection between you two. Obviously, it worked, but I'm not sure how easily it can be replicated, especially now that Sophie knows to have her guard up. Sophie felt her cheeks flush. Sorry, I guess I shouldn't have freaked out the way I did. There's no need to apologize, Sophie, Tiergan assured her. But I meant what I said about trust being your greatest asset. Letting Fitz into your mind will only make you both stronger during this healing. So I hope you're willing to try the exercise again, and not shove Fitz away if he does manage to be able to bypass your blocking. Sophie glanced at Fitz as she nodded, wondering if he was thinking the same thing that she was. He must have been, because he asked Tiergan, "Does that mean we have to share 3 more secrets?" Tiergan smiled as he sank into his chair. No, I think this time it should be 5. So what's going on with you and Wonder Boy? Dex asked, as soon as Sandor had left them alone. He had stopped by after school to make sure Sophie was feeling okay, but she wasn't really in the mood for company. I saw the way he ignored you in study hall, he pressed as he plopped down beside her. Something has to be up. Sophie stared at the elven history book she was pretending to read. What was up was that she'd been so busy trying to keep her mind clear of anything embarrassing that she'd barely listened to the secrets Fitz had shared with her. Even now, the only thing she could remember was that he'd put fart a la carte in Biana's breakfast before her level 1 opening ceremonies, and gave her a raging case of stinky gas. and the secrets she'd shared had been fairly lame. So basically, the entire exercise had been a total failure, and Fitz hadn't talked to her since. Dex nudged Sophie's elbow, making it clear he wasn't going to let it go. So she closed her book, a little harder than she'd meant to, and told him, Fitz was just upset because I freaked out when he got past my blocking, and... Wait, Dex interrupted. He got past your blocking? Yeah. Tiergan had us do this exercise where we had to share all these secrets, and something about the process made my mind pull Fitz past my defenses. Which is cool, but I wasn't expecting it, so I totally freaked out and blocked Fitz again. And then we couldn't recreate it, so now he thinks I don't trust him. Do you trust him? Dex asked. Of course. It was just super weird having someone in my head, but I have to get over it. Tiergan gave me this long lecture about how crucial it is that I let Fitz in, and I know he's right. Why? Dex asked. I mean, you're the one with all the super special telepathy. What do you need Fitz for? For backup. Plus, my telepathy is stronger when I'm working with him, and his is strongest with me. It's like we have a connection or something. A connection? Dex repeated. He shook his head as he walked over to the wall of windows, keeping his eyes focused on the glass. He's not that special, you know. I could make a gadget that does everything he does. In fact, I could make one that does it better. I'm pretty sure you can't, Sophie said gently. Why? You don't think I'm talented enough? Of course not. It's just, if someone could invent a telepathy gadget, don't you think they would have done it already? Maybe no one's ever tried. Sophie actually didn't see why they would. If anyone needed a telepath for something, they could just ask a telepath. Luckily, she'd stopped herself from saying that. Dex's ears had turned the same color as her elixir was used to in alchemy right before they exploded. Listen, Dex, I didn't mean your ability isn't awesome. Not awesome enough, apparently. That's not what I meant. There are just some things only a telepath can do. Yeah, well, we'll see about that. What do you mean? He didn't answer as he pulled out his home crystal. Are you leaving? Yep. But he didn't sound angry. He even flashed a confident smile as he told her, I'm going to build you a gadget that does everything Wonder Boy can do. And then you'll see which one of us you can trust. Oh, I thought Dex was here, Edline said from the doorway. He held a crystal tray with 3 extra thick slices of malamelt balanced on it. Standing behind her was Biana. He just left, Sophie told them, as they made their way into her bedroom. Clearly, Adeline thought it was strange, but all she said was, Well, I guess you'll just have to share his piece then, and she set the tray on the bed. She left them alone with their snack, and they each grabbed their plates of malamelt, letting the gooey sweetness and the sound of chewing fill the awkward silence. Sorry to drop by out of the blue again, Biana eventually told her. You left so fast after study hall that I didn't get a chance to ask if you were busy. Yeah, sorry, I just kind of wanted to get out of there. I know, so did my brother. You guys must have had quite an interesting telepathy session. Sophie could feel her blush burn her cheeks. So how mad is he? Oh, he wasn't mad. When he's mad, he yells. Though, I guess you already know that. She stared at her plate, squishing what was left for cake with her fork. Today, he just seemed disappointed. Disappointed, Sophie repeated. Somehow that felt so much worse than mad. Can you tell him I'm sorry? She asked. But Biana was already shaking her head. I am so not getting in the middle. Yeah, that's probably better, Sophie agreed. Not that there was anything for Biana to be in the middle of, unless she knew something that Sophie didn't, which Sophie couldn't exactly ask her. So, what's the deal with Dex? Biana asked, switching from one awkward subject to another. Sophie told her about Dex's new invention plan, figuring Biana would think he was as crazy as she did. Instead, she told him, just go easy on him. He's fighting such an impossible battle. And something about the way she said it made Sophie wonder if she was even referring to the invention. She cleared her throat. Anyway, how come you came over? Nothing changed since you've last been here. Well, nothing she was ready to talk about. Her newest joy revelations had been carefully tucked into the "I'm not ready to deal with this" section of her mind. I figured, since you hadn't told me anything, Biana told her. But I did a little searching on my own. I snuck into my dad's office and vanished, so I was there while he did his nightly update with the council. Sophie leaned closer, not sure if she should feel excited or guilty about what Biana had done. Most of it was boring stuff. Complaints he was getting about tomorrow's healing, something about Grady not making any progress on the dwarves. But then there was one thing I knew I had to tell you. A goblin patrol found some new tracks outside the sanctuary. They were far away from the gates, and whoever made them was only there briefly. But one of the footprints definitely belonged to an ogre.